Good morning, Assalamu alaikum, Muhammad Sadiq Sheikh. I have Assistant Vice President with me today, George Tavier. George, would you please tell the audience who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Once again, my name is George Tawia. I'm a commercial banker with BB&T in Springfield, Virginia, and I'm just looking here to help the community to answer any questions that they may have in terms of getting a loan with BB&T.
George, first question for the small or large businessman, when he purchases a commercial property, what he need to do to qualify?
That's a great question. And what I found a lot of times with small business owners, they feel they need either a large down payment or good credit, or don't necessarily need to provide full financial information. And a lot of times that's not the case. Really, when you're making a decision about anything, you want to make a sound decision. And with that, you don't base it just on one factor. So what we look for in banking a lot of times is what we call the 5 C's of credit. With the 5 C's of credit, what it consists of is character, capital, collateral, capacity, and condition. With those 5 C's of credit, it kind of encompasses the total general lending guidelines that most banks use. With the first one being character, it's basically your willingness to repay. It shows the evidence of your past history in terms of credit. A lot of times with small businesses, you are one and the same in terms of who you are. So we look at that in terms of, because it may not necessarily be a lot of information about the business, we have to look at the person owning the business in terms of to get a good feel of that person and their ability to repay the loan. The next one is capacity. Capacity is basically your ability to repay. With capacity, what we look at is cash flow. Does the business or commercial property that you're looking to lease or the business that you're looking to buy have the ability to service the debt that you're looking to take out? And by service, I mean basically repay the loan that you're potentially looking to take out with the business. The other one would be collateral. Collateral is a very important part of the decisioning process in the sense that what it does is it gives us the opportunity as a secondary repayment source. Although we don't look as the collateral to be the primary repayment source, we want to know that in case of a downturn that there is some other source in terms of having that loan repaid or paid off. The next one is capital. Capital is actually your investment into the business. So what we look for in terms of that, we want to know that you have a vested interest in it, that you have some stake to say that you're not just going to walk away from the transaction. So with capital, that can be essentially the money that you put into the business, as well as your personal assets that you may own that you have the ability to use in the case of the business not doing well and you need some other source of capital. The last one being condition. Condition is essentially the outside factors that exist, whether it be competition. Is your particular industry that you're in, is it subject to the economic conditions? Is there a slowdown in business in the wintertime for your business? So those are the other outside factors that we look for of condition. With those 5, character, capital, collateral, condition, and capacity, those 5 C's of credit is what we look for in determining, is this a good loan?
Even all these years, I still didn't know half of the information you have provided me today. But the last thing is I would like to ask, what you think is how much emphasis is on the relationship the customer have with the individual bank or the officer or the president and so forth?
Absolutely. That's a great question, because relationship plays a very important factor in determining whether or not we'll approve a loan. A lot of times with anything, a relationship, determines whether or not, if we've had an established time frame with a client, we know that this is what has been in the past, more than likely this is what will continue in the future. Relationship, one of the first things that my regional credit office asks me is how long has that person been with the bank? Because we want to know that they're in there for the long term and not just jumping around. We want to see that, 5, 10 years, whatever it may be, in terms of a relationship, because that plays an important factor, as well as your deposits. That plays a factor in determining you have had a seasoned relationship with the bank. So that's kind of where we look at in terms of, okay, this person has had this long relationship with us. Now, what can we do to help make sure they continue this long relationship with us? This is George Tawia, commercial banker with BB&T in Springfield, Virginia. If you have any questions, feel free to contact at the email that's at the bottom of the screen.
George, excellent. You surprised me with your Lots of great answers and information you have provided us today's community, and we will continue with the other. Good morning, Muhammad Sadiq Sheikh here. I am with Mr. Carlo Camacho, and would you please tell us, our audience, about you?
Good morning, Mr. Sheikh. Thank you once again for the opportunity to represent International Services. My name is Carlos Camacho, and I have been with BB&T for the past 4 years, and I represent the International Services for BB&T in the Washington, D.C. area. I am a Vice President out of the Friendship Heights, Washington, D.C. office.
Carlos, tell our audience, when a person comes from Pakistan or from here, they go to Pakistan and wants to do international business, what they require, to do the business.
Basic question, or the general question that we get asked most of the time from people that want to sell products overseas, let's say Pakistan, is that they approach a buyer in that country, in Pakistan, and the buyer is willing to do business with them via a letter of credit basis. What that means is a letter of credit is assurance of payment, is as long as you meet certain terms and conditions under that letter of credit. It is an instrument issued by a bank in Pakistan in favor of the seller here in the United States, and it is once again guarantee of payment as long as you meet all the terms and conditions that you and the buyer have set forth. There should be a sales contract to begin with before a letter of credit is born. Some of the things that go into a sales contract is, of course, the amount of the letter of credit or the goods, the merchandise description, when you can make the goods available to the seller, how are you going to get paid, in this case a letter of credit, and also some other little things. And one of the important things that I like to tell the seller or our client is to be sure that to give the proper address for the International Services office so that the letter of credit can be properly routed to BB&T. A lot of times we get letters of credits going to branches at BB&T, and that will delay the process. Once we receive the letter of credit from the issuing bank in Pakistan, BB&T's job is to authenticate or verify that the letter of credit came from that bank in Pakistan. We will review all the terms and conditions under that letter of credit to be sure that the seller here in the United States can meet and also get paid under the letter of credit. And then we basically give you the original instrument or the original letter of credit to use so you can make proper shipping arrangements. At that point, you will go ahead and prepare the merchandise for shipment. You will prepare the documents that the letter of credit needs or that the bank oversees and the buyer will need in order to clear the goods at their end. Once all those documents are ready, they will present those documents to BB&T, and our job at that point is to review carefully all those documents. Now, those documents that I'm talking about would include an invoice, a packing list, a bill of lading, or a transport document. The transport document is the title of the document. It's a very important document because whoever holds that document has title to the merchandise. So we will review all those 3, maybe 4, sometimes 5 documents against the letter of credit to be sure that all the terms and conditions have been met by the seller. Once we feel confident that they have been met, we will send those documents to the issuing bank in Pakistan. Now, let's say that there might be a discrepancy or there might be an error with that letter of credit, with those documents. We will give you a chance to rectify or make good on those documents, and we will work with you because it is in our best interest that you get paid in a timely manner under that letter of credit. So once again, we review the documents. If we're satisfied that you have met all the terms and conditions of the letter of credit, those documents get sent to Pakistan. Once the bank in Pakistan receives those documents, they will review the documents once again to be sure that all the terms and conditions once again have been met, and if they're found in satisfactory condition, they will notify the buyer that those documents are in and that the letter of credit gets paid. Once that has been done, the flow or the payment will come back to BB&T. We will receive the funds and we will credit that to your account. There are some fees involved with the letter of credit, typically between $200 and $300. So it is very important that you build those costs into your sales contract so the buyer and the seller know what they're dealing with here. Mm-hmm. And those fees will be deducted from the funds that BB&T receives before it's credited to your account. In a summary, that's pretty much what a letter of credit is between a buyer and a seller that BB&T International Services can assist with.
Thank you so much.
All right.
You know, looking forward to do this more often with BB&T.